Everybody, welcome back. Midweek project here. We got a 02 Road King that we're going to do an open belt drive conversion on, so thought this would be of interest to some people, be kind of a little how-to. Shouldn't be a terribly difficult project. Really just basically removing and installing. A couple little things might have to be done, but we're expecting a pretty smooth install. So anyway, we're out here in the shop. We're going to go ahead and get working. Alright, so first thing we got to do is get our oil drained out of our primary so we don't make too big of a mess. So while this is draining, I'm going to get all these little bolt caps off. None of this stuff is going to be getting reused because the new primary is going to take all its own hardware. Alright, so just going to let this drain for a few minutes. And we'll come back and start the teardown. That's not going to be fun. Get this outer primary removed. Looks like we got a stripped out bolt down here, so that'll be a little interesting to get out. At least it's exposed. We'll probably grab it with a vice grip. So once we got our outside cover off, we're going to pull the whole clutch mechanism out of here. You take this snap ring out, you pull your adjuster. That gives you access to the clutch hub nut. Then you got your compensator nut and a 9/16 here for the chain adjuster. So we're going to go ahead and pull all this out. Again, none of this is going back in, none of it's going to get reused. Something to remember, your clutch hub nut is reverse threads, so when you go to take that off, you got to go righty-loosey. So we're going to go ahead and get the inner primary plate removed now. You got these bolt lock tabs, so just a little screwdriver and a hammer, you can knock those straight. So you got to take the starter jack shaft out. Also had a little lock tab on it, you straighten the lock tab out. I usually just grab the gear, and then you can get this pop free. It's not usually crazy tight, it's a little tiny screw. And you take this out, you'll see it comes out as a bunch of pieces. Again, none of this is getting reused because everything is going to the open belt, which comes with all this stuff. Different jack shaft, different clutch, the whole deal. So go ahead and slide all this stuff out, put it aside. We're going to remove this shifter here because the shift shaft on the touring bikes like this runs through the inner primary. So that we will need again. So put that aside, and then the last thing we got to do is hop around to the other side and unbolt. There's two bolts in the starter that run in from the right side towards the left side of the bike, and they hold the inner primary on as well. So I'm gonna just loosen those. You don't have to remove the starter or anything.
Just get them loose, and that'll let the whole inner primary plate come off.
So you just give that a nice wobble, and you got your inner primary plate off. Try not to slice your hand open like I just did, and you'll be having a good day. Alright, so one other thing that we got to remove is the closed primary uses a kind of an open bearing with a race that's pressed off the transmission shaft, and the open primaries use just a regular sealed bearing, so we don't need this race. So I have this little tool here that's supposed to make pulling this race off easy, but it looks like whoever installed this race installed it too far, which sucks. Alright, so that was a little bit more trouble than we expected, but we got it off. Somebody had just installed this real tight up against here, and so the little lip of the tool was extremely difficult to get in there. But anyway, it's off. Something I want to mention, which I thought I was going to maybe have to do, if you're just doing this on one bike and you don't want to have to buy this special tool, you can cut this with a small cutoff wheel. You kind of cut it at an angle, and you cut it about 3/4 of the way through, and then hit it with a chisel, and it'll crack and it'll slide off. So that is an option if you don't want to mess with having to buy special tools. That completes the teardown. Everything that we need off the bike is off the bike. So we're going to grab the box. We'll go ahead and unbox it, show you guys everything that comes in the kit, and then we'll go ahead and start installing it. Alright, so here's our kit. It's an Ultima 2-inch open belt drive for baggers. So and get everything opened up. You got a belt guard, goes on the end of the clutch basket. Got your clutch kit, steels and fibers, USA made. That's nice. I think this is Alto clutches. They're pretty good. Yeah. Got our actual belt. This is our clutch basket with this ring gear and your belt setup. Also, you got your clutch hub nut. This is heel guard, I believe. Got your front pulley flange, front pulley nut, got our front engine pulley, bag of hardware, our jack shaft cover, So this is a bunch of the miscellaneous hardware. You got clutch springs, clutch adjuster, looks like the jack shaft assembly and jack shaft assembly bolts. Other miscellaneous hardware, clutch springs and clutch spring collars. This is going to be our pressure plate. Big bag of all the hardware. Front pulley cover. This is the outer cover. Full instructions. And last but not least, we have our inner primary plate, which actually looks really nice. I'm surprised because this is a complete billet inner primary, and a lot of the Ultima primaries are cast inside plates, which doesn't really matter, but this being a billet piece, just a little bit higher quality. Nice polished finish. And cool, so that's it. That's everything that's going to go on the bike to reassemble this open primary. I'm going to go ahead and get back to the bike and start putting stuff on. Alright, so we got first piece obviously is our inner primary plate. Line that up with the transmission shaft. Slide that on. I'm going to hop around quick to the other side, run the starter bolts in to hold that in place, and then we'll continue with the assembly. Alright, so we got our inner primary slid into place here. I'm going to assemble this little last portion of the inner primary where the shifter goes. Little area had the bronze bushing, and then it came with a couple spacers and a little nylon thrust washer. So we'll slip all that in place and then slide this shaft through. And then this will settle here. I'm gonna get this big bag of hardware opened up. Nicole, are you out here?
I am.
Could you grab me a rag, please?
Yeah, are these ones?
Yeah, just no, just like a shit rag. That's good. I just need one. I just gotta wipe up a little oil so I have a clean. Thanks. One unfortunate thing is they don't actually label any of these bags other than what the bolts are, so you just kind of have to make sure you got the right ones as you're assembling it. Alright, so we got our inner primary plate on. Next thing I'm going to do is install the jack shaft on the starter just so it's in there and out of the way. You don't have to try and fiddle with it when your clutch basket's in the way.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Unless you need it.
Nope. So when you put these jack shafts on, there's a little spline washer that goes on first. It's kind of a pain to get on. I usually use like an extension or something like this to slide it in place and then push it on the rest of the way. Then you have a spring, which I again slide on the extension, line it up with the shaft, and then you can kind of slide it in and poke it on so it's not falling off and dropping down and just turn it into a pain in the ass. So then once you have that, it comes with two different bolts depending upon what year starter you have, what year your bike is. You slide the spacer, the bolt, and then bolt it in. Alright, so we got our jack shaft in place. Next up is the clutch hub. So this is all super straightforward stuff here. Normally you just line this up and slide it on. Put your nut on, remembering that this is reverse thread. So you're going to go lefty-tighty. So next up we got the front pulley assembly. So we got our washer and our nut. We have our hub and our pulley, which we're going to assemble together. Alright, so we got our hub slid into our front pulley. We got our bolts, we got some red Loctite. Just put a little dab on each of these. Alright, so belt is on. Time to put the clutch in and the pressure plate and springs and the pulley cover and all that stuff. Pretty straightforward. You got one thick steel goes in first, then you just alternate steels and fibers the rest of the way. Go. Just got to work that around until it's clocked the right way, that it slides all the way in. It's real obvious when it does. So once you got your pressure plate in, you're gonna go ahead and put your clutch adjuster bolt, goes right in the center. You're gonna run this in until it touches. When you just start to feel a little drag, then you back it off like an eighth to a quarter of a turn, and then lock your jam nut down. Then you can squeeze your clutch. You can see if you got clutch action. You can see that it turns, and then you release your clutch, and it sticks. So, not too terrible there. Gonna get our front pulley put on now, or not the front pulley cover.
Same one on Tom's bike?
It's not the exact, it's the same company,
Yeah.
but it's different because it's for a bagger.
And the springs are not actually yellow, that's just plastic on them that will wear off.
Yeah, that's just how they coat them.
Right. I like the way they look in yellow, but then I realized that...
Oh, well, it'll stay. I'm
Will
sure.
it?
Yeah, I mean...
Is it like heat shrink?
Yeah, something like that, like Plasti Dip. And they don't move that much. You know what I mean? Like barely enough to. Yeah.
I like it open like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it open.
Yeah. That's normally how we always leave them.
I'm used to it because of my Pro Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd leave it open.
Cool. Easy enough.
Yeah, because it actually shows more of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. This serves no purpose other than decorative.
Where those bolt holes are?
You could put we can get some button heads.
Yeah.
Get some stainless button heads and just put them in
Just
there,
run them
there,
in, yeah.
there. That's it. Yeah. All right. So the decision has been made. No outside plate. Whole point of the open primary is to have something open. So makes sense to me. We usually don't put them on. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Nice, relatively simple project. Anybody could really do it at home with mostly common hand tools. One specialty tool if you really want. But you could also bypass that like we talked about. So anyway, appreciate you guys being here, spending a little bit of time with us. Please don't forget to subscribe. Check out all our latest and greatest upcoming builds and events and all that stuff. And we hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.